Thank you, Vice Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Nuffield scholars, good morning. Today I'm going to talk to you about sea buckthorn. It's a relatively uncommon fruit, but one which has many healthy and unique characteristics. First and foremost, none of this would have been possible without the generosity of the NFU Mutual Charitable Trust. I'm very grateful for all that they have done. Thanks also very much to the Nuffield Farming Scholarships Trust for giving me such an opportunity. I won't ask for a show of hands, but I think I can safely say that many of you had not heard of sea buckthorn before this conference. Your first encounter with this fruit was probably the sorbet you were served at last night's banquet, and I hope it was well received. My first introduction to sea buckthorn was in Nepal. I was trekking to Everest Base Camp in the majestic Himalayas. Once we got to an altitude up over 4,000 meters, the thin mountain air started to take its toll. I was dizzy, had grinding headaches, and even an occasional nosebleed. One night, the Sherpas gave us all a glass of a bright orange-coloured juice, insisting that it would help us with our various altitude-related complaints. The following morning, I woke up, and instead of feeling groggy, I felt fully rejuvenated. At breakfast, I asked the Sherpas what the juice was. With a knowing smile, he said, sea buckthorn, Nepalese superfruit. Needless to say, I was curious to learn more. And here it is. As you can see, it's a woody shrub with silvery grey-green leaves. It's a thorny plant which produces bright orange fruit, commonly known as sea berries. Sea buckthorn has a pioneering growth habit and can grow almost anywhere in the Northern Hemisphere. It prefers sunny growing locations with free draining soils. However, it can happily grow in a range of soil types. On my travels, I have seen sea buckthorn growing on sandstone deserts in Inner Mongolia, in the deep black soils of former marshland in Latvia. And I've also seen wild sea buckthorn forests growing at altitude in the rocky slopes of the Indian Himalayas. The name sea buckthorn is a bit of a misnomer, really, as clearly it doesn't have to grow on the coast. However, on sand dunes, sea buckthorn really thrives, to the point where it can become invasive. Sea buckthorn is drought tolerant and can handle extremes in temperature. The plant has a symbiotic relationship with a soil bacteria called Frankia. These live on the roots and fix atmospheric nitrogen, just like the rhizobacteria do on legumes. The adaptability of sea buckthorn suggests that it is well equipped to handle future and ongoing changes in climate. Typically, it's around 5 years before an orchard reaches maturity and enters proper fruit production. Obviously, during this time, the trees don't generate an income. This is where agroforestry represents a great opportunity. For those of you unfamiliar with the term, it's simply defined as the intentional integration of trees into agricultural production systems. I joined an innovative farmer's study looking at the grazing of Shropshire sheep amongst fruit orchards. Now, apparently, Shropshire sheep tend to mostly graze the grass and not the trees. The grassy avenues between the sea buckthorn trees grow very quickly as they mop up the readily available nitrogen fixed by the Frankia bacteria. Self-propelled, semi-automated mowers, otherwise known as sheep, will not only just keep the grass down, but they also utilize an otherwise underappreciated resource. They may even provide a modest source of income, so potentially it's a win-win. Now, as with all crops, there are a number of agronomic challenges to overcome. On the continent, and especially in the Baltic states, sea buckthorn fly can devastate fruit production. The flies lay their eggs onto the immature fruit. Once the larvae hatch, they burrow into the fruit and consume the flesh as they go. Now, as sea buckthorn grows wild here in the UK, I can only assume that if the fly isn't already here, then it may only be a matter of time until it is. There are a range of control measures, both chemical and cultural, but neither offer a perfect solution. This little fly represents a genuine threat to commercial production. Harvesting is another production challenge and accounts for over 50% of overall growing costs. The fruit aren't really true berries, as they don't have natural abscission cells. This means that sea berries stubbornly cling onto the branch at harvest. Consequently, mechanical harvesting is ineffective, and hand harvesting is very slow. And when you combine this with the thorny nature of the plant, hand harvest becomes painful and slow, and it's not really feasible on a commercial scale. Therefore, the only current viable harvest method is to prune the berry-laden branch from the tree. This is then frozen, and the seed berries are mechanically separated from the branches and leaves. Unfortunately, this does mean additional capital is necessary for buildings, freezers, and equipment. There's a growing disassociation between food and nourishment. Nowadays, food has never been so plentiful and cheap. My generation have not known food shortages, and we're becoming accustomed to living in a throwaway, disposable society. I think this mentality contributes towards the increase in food waste we are seeing. Eating has now become something we just do, often without a passive thought to nutritive value. For too long, we've had a reactive mentality, relying on our healthcare system to fix us whenever we get unwell. And more often than not, our poor health is self-inflicted, a consequence of bad diets or inactive lifestyles. Inevitably, this is causing a crisis in modern healthcare. We're all familiar with the 5-a-day campaign promoting consumption of fruit and vegetables. Yet, despite widespread awareness, we only achieve 3.5 portions a day on average. The University College of London believes that we should be shooting for 7 portions a day rather than 5. And if that's the case, then obviously there's room for improvement. But we should remember that even 1 or 2 portions daily is better than none at all. I think the government could and should be doing much more to educate the general public about the benefits of eating healthily. Upfront investment in education and promoting ways to lead healthy diets and lifestyles is so much more cost-effective than throwing good money after bad, propping up an already overburdened NHS. However, the tide is turning. People making conscious decisions to eat well and keep fit in order to prevent themselves from becoming ill. Public attitude towards healthy eating is now increasingly positive too. In the 2016 Waitrose Food and Drink Survey, 70% of those surveyed regarded healthy eating as an important part of their own identity. The notion of healthy eating is becoming an everyday habit for many. And we're seeing the rise of the convenient health category, where food and drink products meet the needs of modern, educated, busy, health-conscious people. It's a strong category in which to strategically target or exist, as it appeals to a very broad demographic and audience. I think Buckthorn is well aligned to offer a unique proposition within this category. Sea berries are packed full of antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. They are also a credible source of essential fatty acids in the form of omega-3, 6, 7, and 9. In fact, sea buckthorn is one of 2 only known plant sources of omega-7, palmitoleic acid. This is an important anti-inflammatory and particularly beneficial to our body's largest organ, our skin. All the omega oils are important, though, as they help our bodies to function normally. Our bodies cannot synthesize omega oils, so they have to be supplied by our diet. Sea berries are particularly high in vitamin C, which helps us to combat stress, and is also important for normal cell function in our immune and cardiovascular systems. Now, while most vitamins are fat-soluble, our bodies can store them. Vitamin C, however, is water-soluble, and our bodies cannot store them. So again, it's important for our diet to supply our daily requirements of vitamin C. These are just a few examples of a number of healthy attributes that contribute towards making sea berries a functional food, defined as providing health benefits over and above that of nutrition. Now, you're probably thinking, well, why haven't I heard of sea buckthorn before? The fruit is big business in Russia, China, and Eastern Europe. There, sea buckthorn is part of the culture and is recognized for its healthy attributes. Commercial businesses developed behind closed borders during the Cold War period. The industry invested inwardly and was opportunistic in nature. This restricted progress in more traditional Western markets, such as the UK and America. And as a result of this, the market is in its infancy in these countries now. Low public recognition of this fruit is a large obstacle to overcome. However, this is also a significant opportunity. The sea berry is a tart berry. For a Western culture that grew up with a sweet tooth, this poses obvious challenges. It's important that efforts are made at the product development stage, to ensure public acceptance. After all, taste is everything. Nevertheless, let's remember that it's been done before, and very successfully so. Cranberries are another tart berry, and aren't too dissimilar to sea buckthorn. Both of these are healthy fruits, but ones that are generally better received by consumers once they are processed. I want you to consider this for a moment. 1 in every 5 photos uploaded across all social media platforms is of food. People will continue Facebooking it, tweeting it, Snapchatting it, Instagramming it. You get my drift. We care about food. We talk about it. We're interested in it. We like it. It sounds so obvious and so simple. But as an industry, we mustn't overlook the fact that our public has a genuine interest in where their food comes from and how it is produced. We're very fortunate that people actually care, and this industry should not sit back and take this for granted. Remember, the same cannot always be said for other everyday purchases we make. On Wednesday, I bought a pen at the airport, and I can assure you, not for one minute did it cross my mind to inquire whether it's grass-fed, free-range, or whether it's been sprayed with glyphosate. One conclusion I've reached on my scholarship isn't exactly earth-shattering, but is well worth reiterating, and it's simply this. Eating a diet rich in fresh fruit and vegetables is good for you. Opportunities exist for UK agriculture and horticulture to deliver a revolution of healthy foodstuffs. Sea buckthorn is perhaps just one of many new crops that will help to satisfy the public's growing appetite for good health. My Nuffield Scholarship has taken me to 12 countries on 3 continents. I've sipped champagne at the state-of-the-art Moët Chandon facility in France. I dined at a Michelin-starred restaurant in Copenhagen, and I had noodles for breakfast in Beijing. I've missed internal flights in Inner Mongolia. I drove in a whiteout snowstorm in Massachusetts. I fell asleep on a train and woke up abandoned in rural Romania. Along the way, I've made many new friends and been inspired by some amazing individuals. There are so many fantastic memories. With strong branding, a tasty product, and a well-informed public, I'm confident that sea buckthorn has a promising future. With its healthy qualities, sea buckthorn can satisfy the demands of a consumer demographic that's becoming increasingly health-conscious. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention today. It's been my absolute pleasure to tell you a little about this fruit, sea buckthorn. Thank you very much.